Sofia Delgado stood nervously at the tall iron gates of the Cross estate, staring up at the massive mansion looming beyond, its size far exceeding anything she had ever cleaned in her 5 years working through Bright Home's cleaning agency. She adjusted the strap of her bag over her shoulder, taking a deep breath before pressing the intercom button at the gate. Sofia was a plus-size woman in her late 20s, hard-working and diligent, known throughout the agency for her thoroughness and reliability. She had taken this particular assignment because it paid significantly more than her usual jobs, and with her mother's medical bills piling up steadily each month, the extra income was simply too important to pass up. Bright Home's cleaning, checking in for the Cross residents, Sofia said clearly into the intercom. After a brief pause, the gate buzzed open, and Sofia made her way up the long, elegant driveway toward the mansion's grand entrance. A stern-looking housekeeper named Rosa greeted her at the door, ushering her inside quickly. "You're the new live-in maid for the deep cleaning project," Rosa said briskly, glancing over a clipboard. "Mr. Cross is renovating several wings of the mansion, so we need thorough cleaning done throughout the week. You'll be staying in the guest quarters until the job is finished." "Live-in?" Sofia asked, slightly surprised. "I wasn't told the assignment included overnight stays." "It's in the contract," Rosa said simply, already walking briskly down the hallway, expecting Sofia to follow. "The agency should have explained that clearly. Regardless, your room is ready. Follow me." Sofia followed quickly, her eyes widening at the sheer scale and luxury of the mansion's interior. Soaring ceilings, expensive artwork, marble floors polished to a brilliant shine. She had never worked in a home this grand before, and nervous excitement, mixed with genuine anxiety, as she processed the size of the cleaning task ahead of her. Rosa led her through several long hallways, eventually stopping before a heavy wooden door in a quieter section of the mansion. "This will be your room during your stay," Rosa explained, opening the door to reveal a spacious, elegantly furnished guest bedroom. "The east wing is currently being renovated, so temporary living arrangements have shifted things around a bit. This was the best available option." Sofia stepped inside, genuinely impressed by the room's comfort and elegance, far exceeding anything she had expected for a simple maid's temporary quarters. "This is lovely, thank you." "Settle in," Rosa instructed. "Dinner will be brought to your room this evening, since the kitchen staff is occupied with renovation logistics. Tomorrow morning, cleaning begins promptly at 7. Rosa left quickly, her heels clicking briskly down the hallway, leaving Sofia alone to unpack her few belongings. She glanced curiously around the spacious room, noticing an unusual door on the far side, slightly ajar, clearly connecting to another room beyond. Curious, and assuming it might lead to a private bathroom or closet, Sofia approached carefully, pushing the door open gently to peek inside. What she found instead left her frozen in stunned surprise. Beyond the door lay an enormous, luxurious master bedroom, clearly belonging to someone of significant wealth and importance. A large four-poster bed dominated the room, expensive dark wood furniture arranged elegantly throughout, and personal items scattered casually about, clearly indicating the room was actively occupied. Sofia's heart raced with sudden panic, quickly closing the door as quietly as possible, her mind racing anxiously. This wasn't simply an adjoining bathroom or closet. This was clearly someone's private bedroom, directly connected to her own temporary guest quarters. She hurried anxiously back into the hallway, searching desperately for Rosa to clarify the obvious mistake. But the housekeeper had already disappeared, likely occupied elsewhere with the mansion's ongoing renovation logistics. Sofia stood uncertainly in the hallway for several minutes, debating whether to seek out someone else to address the apparent mix-up, or simply wait until morning to sort things out properly. Exhausted from her long day of travel and uncertain about disturbing anyone further given the late hour, she reluctantly decided to return to her room, resolving firmly to keep that connecting door tightly closed and locked for the remainder of the evening. Back in her guest room, Sofia quickly checked the connecting door's lock, relieved to find it functioned properly, securing it carefully before settling nervously onto the comfortable bed. She told herself repeatedly that surely this was simply an oversight, quickly resolved come morning, yet an uneasy feeling lingered persistently in the back of her mind. She had no idea sitting anxiously in that unfamiliar, luxurious guest room, exactly whose private bedroom lay just beyond that connecting door, nor the dangerous, complicated world into which her innocent, accidental discovery was about to draw her directly. Little did Sophia realize the mansion's true owner, a man known throughout the city's hidden underworld as one of its most powerful and feared mafia bosses, Damien Cross, was currently away handling urgent business matters, completely unaware that a temporary mix-up in living arrangements had unexpectedly placed an innocent, unsuspecting maid directly within arm's reach of his own carefully guarded, private quarters. As the night grew later, Sophia eventually drifted into an uneasy, restless sleep, unaware entirely that Damien's return home later that same evening would soon reveal to both of them the surprising, unexpected mix-up neither had anticipated, setting into motion events that would dramatically alter both their lives in ways neither could yet fully imagine. It was nearly midnight when Damien Cross finally returned home, exhausted after a tense night handling a complicated business dispute with one of his associates. His mansion was quiet as he entered, the staff having retired hours earlier, the only sound his own footsteps echoing softly against the marble floors. Damien was a composed, sharp-eyed man in his mid-30s, known throughout the city's underworld for his calculated intelligence and unwavering authority. Few people ever saw him relaxed or at ease. His guarded, controlled demeanor was as much a part of his identity as the empire he had built through years of careful, dangerous work. He made his way toward his private wing, eager simply to rest after a long, stressful evening. As he approached his bedroom door, he noticed something unusual, a faint line of light glowing beneath the connecting door to what should have been an empty, unused guest room, currently vacant due to ongoing renovations elsewhere in the mansion. Frowning slightly, Damien paused, listening carefully. He could hear faint, steadied breathing from beyond the door, clear evidence that someone was inside asleep. Curious and slightly alarmed, given his usual careful security measures, he opened the connecting door quietly, peering inside cautiously. There, sound asleep in the guest bed, lay an unfamiliar woman, her chestnut hair spread softly across the pillow, completely unaware of his presence. Damien studied her carefully for a moment, genuine confusion evident on his usually composed features. He had certainly not authorized any staff member to occupy this particular room, especially not one directly connected to his own private quarters. Quietly, he stepped back, closing the door gently before making his way immediately to find Rosa. Despite the late hour, he located her quickly, still awake and finishing paperwork in her private office near the kitchen. "Rosa," Damien said firmly, though quietly, "there's a woman sleeping in the guest room connected directly to my private quarters. Care to explain?" Rosa's eyes widened with immediate concern and embarrassment. "Mr. Cross, I'm terribly sorry. With the East Wing renovations underway, we had to temporarily relocate the new maid's living quarters. I hadn't realized that particular guest room connected directly to your private bedroom. I'll have her moved immediately." "It's late," Damien said, sighing wearily, exhaustion evident in his controlled tone. "Let her sleep. We'll sort out proper arrangements tomorrow morning." Rosa nodded quickly, relieved by his surprisingly calm response. "Of course, sir. I apologize again for the oversight." Damien returned to his private quarters, deciding simply to retire for the night, despite the unusual situation, resolving to address the awkward mix-up properly come morning. The following day, Sophia woke early, momentarily disoriented by her unfamiliar surroundings, before quickly remembering the events of the previous evening. She dressed quickly, eager to begin her assigned cleaning duties and clarify the confusing living arrangement as soon as possible. As she stepped cautiously into the hallway, she nearly collided directly with a tall, sharply dressed man emerging simultaneously from what she now realized clearly was the connecting master bedroom. "Oh, I'm so sorry," Sophia said quickly, stepping back in surprised embarrassment, immediately recognizing the awkwardness of the situation. Damien studied her carefully, faint amusement flickering behind his controlled expression. "You must be the maid Rosa mentioned. Sophia, was it?" Sophia's cheeks flushed deeply with embarrassment. "Yes, sir. I'm so sorry about the room mix-up. I didn't realize until last night that my room connected directly to yours. I promise. I kept the door locked the entire night. Damien's lips curved slightly into an unexpected, faint smile. I appreciate your honesty, Sophia. Though I must admit, waking to discover an unfamiliar woman sleeping just beyond my bedroom door was certainly unexpected. I completely understand if you'd like me moved elsewhere immediately, Sophia said quickly, mortified by the entire situation. I can speak with Rosa right away. Damien considered the situation thoughtfully for a moment. Given recent security concerns within his organization, moving staff around unnecessarily wasn't ideal, especially amid ongoing renovations occupying much of the mansion's other guest quarters. Actually, he said slowly, given the current renovations, it might be simplest if you remained in your current room a bit longer, at least until alternative arrangements become available. Sophia blinked, clearly surprised by his calm, practical suggestion. Are you sure that's all right, sir? It seems unusual, given the circumstances. It's temporary, Damien said simply, though his tone carried genuine reassurance. I trust the arrangement will remain professional and appropriate. Of course, Sophia agreed quickly, relieved by his understanding response, despite the awkwardness of their situation. I'll make sure to respect your privacy completely, sir. Damien nodded, satisfied by her clear, respectful response. Good. And please call me Damien. Formalities seem somewhat unnecessary, given our unusual living arrangement. Sophia smiled nervously, gradually feeling slightly more at ease despite the strange circumstances. All right, Damien. Thank you for understanding. As Damien walked away toward his private study, Sophia stood quietly in the hallway, processing the surreal nature of her current situation. She had certainly never expected her assignment to involve living in such close proximity to her employer, especially someone as composed, mysterious, and unexpectedly kind as Damien Cross had proven himself to be. Yet despite his calm reassurance and genuine understanding, Sophia couldn't entirely shake an uneasy feeling that there was clearly more to Damien Cross than his composed, wealthy exterior initially suggested, an intuition that would soon prove entirely accurate as she began settling cautiously into her unusual, temporary living arrangement within his guarded, private world. Over the following days, Sophia settled gradually into a careful, comfortable routine within the Cross mansion. Each morning, she rose early, dressed quickly, and spent long hours dedicated to the thorough cleaning tasks assigned throughout the mansion's various rooms and hallways. Despite the awkward living arrangement, she found herself growing increasingly comfortable in Damien's occasional presence. Damien, though usually reserved and composed, began finding small excuses to interact briefly with Sophia throughout her workday. He would occasionally pass by rooms she was cleaning, pausing momentarily for brief, polite conversation, gradually revealing glimpses of genuine warmth beneath his controlled, guarded exterior. You clean quite thoroughly, Damien commented one afternoon, finding Sophia carefully dusting an antique bookshelf in his private study. Most staff simply rush through their tasks. I take pride in doing things properly, Sophia replied honestly, glancing up briefly from her work, especially in a home as beautiful as this one. Damien studied her thoughtfully, genuine appreciation evident in his usually guarded gaze. It's refreshing, honestly, to encounter someone who takes such genuine care in their work. Sophia smiled softly, growing steadily more comfortable in his presence, despite the unusual circumstances of their living arrangement. Thank you, Damien. I appreciate you saying so. Their brief, polite conversations gradually became a comfortable daily occurrence, each finding unexpected enjoyment in the other's company despite their vastly different worlds. Sophia began noticing small, curious details about Damien's daily routine. Occasional tense phone calls taken privately behind closed doors, security personnel patrolling more heavily than seemed typical for a simple, wealthy businessman's estate, visitors arriving discreetly late at night, departing quickly before dawn. She dismissed these small oddities initially as simply part of Damien's private business affairs, uncertain exactly what industry he worked in, though clearly something requiring significant discretion and heightened security measures. One evening, unable to sleep due to the unusually warm night, Sophia decided to quietly step out onto the small balcony connected to her guest room, hoping the fresh air might help ease her restlessness. As she stood quietly enjoying the cool night breeze, she overheard muffled voices drifting from Damien's private study below. The window slightly opened despite the late hour. The shipment was intercepted. An unfamiliar voice said tensely. Someone tipped off the authorities. Find out who. Damien's voice replied firmly, cold authority evident clearly in his tone. If someone within our organization betrayed us, they'll face serious consequences. Sophia froze, her heart suddenly racing anxiously as she processed the seriousness and danger evident clearly in the tense conversation below. She hadn't intended to eavesdrop, yet the words she'd overheard left her deeply unsettled, confirming clearly that Damien's world involved far more danger and complexity than she had initially assumed. Quickly and quietly, she stepped back inside her room, closing the balcony door carefully, her mind racing anxiously with sudden uncertainty and fear. She lay awake much of the night, replaying the tense conversation repeatedly, uncertain exactly what dangerous world she had unknowingly become entangled within. The following morning, Sophia found herself unusually quiet and distracted during her cleaning duties, unable to shake the anxious uncertainty from the previous night's unsettling discovery. Damien, noticing her unusual reticence during their customary brief interaction, studied her carefully. You seem distracted today, he observed cautiously. Is everything all right, Sophia? Sophia hesitated, torn between honesty and caution, uncertain exactly how to address what she had overheard the previous night. I'm fine, she said carefully, avoiding his sharp, perceptive gaze. Just a restless night, that's all. Damien studied her closely, clearly sensing her hesitation and unease, though he chose not to press the issue directly, respecting her privacy despite his own growing curiosity. If you're certain, he said finally, though his tone carried clear, lingering concern. Sophia nodded quickly, eager to return to her cleaning duties and avoid further uncomfortable conversation. Yet throughout the remainder of the day, she found herself unable to shake the unsettling awareness that Damien Cross was clearly involved in something far more dangerous and complicated than his composed, wealthy exterior initially suggested. That evening, as Sophia prepared quietly for bed, she noticed the connecting door between her room and Damien's private quarters slightly ajar, unusual given their careful, respectful boundaries established previously. Curious and slightly concerned, she approached cautiously, intending simply to close the door properly. As she reached for the door, she paused suddenly, catching sight of Damien standing quietly near his private desk, carefully examining what appeared to be a hidden compartment built discreetly into the wall behind a large painting. Inside, she glimpsed briefly stacks of cash, official-looking documents, and what unmistakably appeared to be a handgun resting prominently among the concealed items. Startled and unable to look away quickly enough, Sophia accidentally bumped softly against the door frame, alerting Damien instantly to her unexpected presence. He turned sharply, clear alarm and tension evident immediately in his usually composed expression upon realizing she had witnessed something clearly not meant for her eyes. Sophia, he said carefully, his voice measured yet unmistakably tense. How much did you just see? Sophia stood frozen, uncertain exactly how to respond, painfully aware that she had unintentionally stumbled upon confirmation of exactly the dangerous, complicated world she had begun suspecting Damien Cross was involved in all along. Sophia's heart pounded rapidly as she stood frozen in the doorway, Damien's sharp, questioning gaze fixed intently upon her. I saw the hidden compartment, she admitted honestly, deciding quickly that lying would serve no genuine purpose. The cash, the documents, and a gun. Damien's jaw tightened, clear tension evident as he processed her unexpected discovery. He remained silent for a long, uncomfortable moment, carefully considering how best to address the serious situation. Sophia, he said finally, his voice measured and controlled despite the obvious severity of the moment. Please, come inside. We need to talk properly. Sophia hesitated, uncertain and slightly fearful given what she had just witnessed, yet she recognized clearly that avoiding this conversation entirely wasn't a realistic option. Cautiously, she stepped further into his private quarters, the connecting door closing softly behind her. I think, Damien began carefully, it's time I explained honestly who I truly am, and what exactly my business involves. Sophia remained silent, anxiously awaiting his explanation, uncertain exactly what dangerous truths awaited her. I run an organization, Damien said slowly, choosing his words carefully, that operates both legitimately and outside conventional legal boundaries. In simpler terms, Sophia, I'm involved in organized crime. Sophia's breath caught sharply, her worst suspicions confirmed directly. You're a Mafia boss? Damien nodded solemnly, his expression serious, yet carrying clear vulnerability beneath his usual controlled exterior. Yes, it's not something I take lightly, nor something I ever intended for you to discover this way. Sophia studied him carefully, processing the serious revelation slowly, torn between genuine fear and surprising empathy toward the man who had shown her nothing but kindness and respect since her arrival. Why are you telling me this so directly now? Because you already know the truth, Damien said honestly. Continuing to hide it further would only place you in greater danger, unaware of exactly what you've unintentionally become involved in. Am I in danger now? Sophia asked quietly, anxiety evident clearly in her trembling voice. Damien's expression grew serious, genuine concern reflected clearly in his sharp, calculating eyes. Possibly. My world is dangerous, Sophia, and unfortunately, given our unusual living arrangement, you've become inadvertently connected to it. Sophia absorbed this troubling reality carefully, uncertain exactly how to proceed given this dangerous, unexpected complication to her simple cleaning assignment. What do you suggest we do? Damien considered the situation thoughtfully, torn visibly between his instinct to protect her by sending her away immediately and his growing, genuine reluctance to lose her unexpected presence in his otherwise isolated, guarded life. I could arrange for you to leave immediately, ensure your safety, by removing you entirely from this situation. Sophia hesitated, surprised by an unexpected pang of disappointment at his suggestion. Is that what you want, Damien? For me to leave? Damien studied her carefully, his usual composed exterior faltering slightly beneath genuine, vulnerable honesty. Honestly, Sophia, no. These past days, despite the unusual circumstances, I've genuinely enjoyed your company, your honesty, and your kindness. I haven't experienced genuine connection like this in a very long time. Sophia's cheeks warmed slightly at his sincere admission, her own growing feelings mirroring his unexpected honesty. I've enjoyed our time together as well, Damien, despite everything. Before their conversation could continue further, Damien's phone buzzed urgently, interrupting the intimate moment. He answered quickly, his expression shifting rapidly from vulnerability to serious concern as he listened carefully to the urgent message. What's wrong? Sophia asked anxiously, sensing immediately the seriousness of the call. Damien's jaw tightened, clear alarm evident in his controlled expression. It appears a rival organization has become aware of your unusual living situation here, connected directly to my private quarters. They're speculating you might hold valuable information about my operations. Sophia's breath caught sharply, fear flooding through her immediately. They think I know something dangerous? It's possible, Damien admitted grimly. Rivals often exploit any perceived weakness or vulnerability, and your close proximity to my private life presents exactly that kind of opportunity for them. What happens now? Sophia asked, anxiety clear in her trembling voice. Damien's expression hardened with protective determination. I need to ensure your safety immediately. I'll increase security around the mansion, and I'd like you to remain close, under careful protection, until we understand and neutralize this potential threat completely. Sophia nodded slowly, torn between genuine fear and surprising trust in Damien's protective resolve. All right, Damien. I trust your judgment. Damien studied her carefully, genuine gratitude and growing affection evident clearly in his guarded gaze. Thank you, Sophia, for your trust, despite everything you've learned tonight. As their tense conversation concluded, Damien moved quickly to arrange increased security measures, his mind racing anxiously with concern for Sophia's safety amid this sudden, unexpected escalation of danger. Sophia, meanwhile, retreated cautiously to her own room, her heart racing with a complicated mixture of fear, uncertainty, and unexpected, growing affection toward the dangerous, yet genuinely kind man she had unexpectedly grown close to through their unusual living arrangement. That night, lying anxiously awake in her bed, Sophia couldn't shake the unsettling realization that her simple cleaning assignment had transformed dramatically into something far more dangerous and complicated than she ever could have anticipated, drawing her unexpectedly into Damien Cross's perilous, hidden world, a world now threatening to test both their safety and their rapidly deepening connection in ways neither had previously imagined. The following morning, tension hung heavily throughout the mansion as Damien's security team worked urgently to reinforce every entrance and hallway. Marco, Damien's trusted second-in-command, delivered updates regularly, his expression growing increasingly grave with each new development. "Sir, we've confirmed the rival organization is the Valente family," Marco reported during a tense briefing in Damien's study. "They believe Sophia holds valuable information about our operations, given her unusual proximity to your private quarters." "She knows nothing of actual substance," Damien said firmly, frustration evident beneath his controlled tone. "But that won't stop them from targeting her regardless. We should consider relocating her to a secondary property," Marco suggested carefully, "somewhere more secure, away from the mansion entirely." Damien considered this option seriously, though something within him resisted the idea of separating from Sophia now, especially given the growing, genuine connection between them. "Increase security here first," he decided finally. "If the threat escalates further, we'll reconsider relocation." Meanwhile, Sophia continued her cleaning duties nervously throughout the day, acutely aware of the increased security presence surrounding her, guards positioned more visibly throughout the hallways she frequented. She found herself unable to concentrate fully, her mind constantly returning to the danger Damien had described the previous night. During a brief break, she found Damien in his study, reviewing security reports with visible tension. "How bad is this situation really?" she asked directly, deciding honesty was preferable to anxious uncertainty. Damien looked up, his expression softening slightly at her direct question. "Serious, but manageable. I won't let anything happen to you, Sophia. I promise you that." "I believe you," Sophia said softly, surprising herself with a genuine trust evident in her own voice. "But I'm still frightened, Damien." Damien stood, moving closer, his usual guarded composure completely melting into genuine, protective warmth. "I understand your fear completely, but please, know that your safety has become my absolute priority." Sophia studied him carefully, sensing clearly the sincerity behind his protective words. "Why does my safety matter so much to you, Damien? I'm just your maid, caught in an unfortunate mix-up." Damien's expression grew serious, vulnerable honesty evident clearly in his sharp, usually guarded eyes. "You're far more than simply my maid anymore, Sophia. These past days, our unexpected closeness, our genuine conversations, you've become someone I deeply care about, someone I refuse to let any danger touch." Sophia's breath caught softly at his heartfelt admission, warmth spreading gently despite the danger surrounding them. "Damien, I feel the same way. Despite everything, despite the danger and uncertainty, I've grown to care for you deeply too." Before their tender moment could continue further, Marco burst urgently into the study, his expression alarmed. "Sir, we have a serious situation. Security cameras have detected multiple vehicles approaching the private wing directly, moving quickly towards Sophia's section of the mansion." Damien's protective instincts surged instantly, his expression hardening with fierce determination. "Get her somewhere secure immediately." "There's no time," Marco said urgently. "They're already breaching the perimeter." Gunfire suddenly erupted outside, shattering windows and echoing loudly through the mansion's private wing. Damien quickly pulled Sophia protectively behind him, moving swiftly toward a hidden safe room built discreetly within his private study for exactly this kind of emergency situation. "Stay here, no matter what," Damien instructed firmly, positioning Sophia securely within the hidden room. "I need to help defend the mansion." "Please be careful," Sophia pleaded anxiously, fear evident clearly in her trembling voice. Damien paused briefly, gently cupping her face with genuine tenderness, despite the chaos surrounding them. I promise, Sophia, I'll return safely. This isn't over, not by a long shot. With that, Damien moved swiftly to join his security team, engaging directly with the Valente family's forces, attempting a coordinated assault on the mansion's private wing. Gunfire and chaos continued outside, tension mounting rapidly as both sides fought fiercely for control of the dangerous confrontation. Inside the hidden safe room, Sophia waited anxiously, her heart pounding fearfully with each distant gunshot, her mind racing with worry for Damien's safety amid the dangerous chaos unfolding just beyond her secure hiding place. Minutes stretched painfully long until finally, the intense gunfire began slowing, gradually quieting into tense, uncertain silence. Sophia waited anxiously, uncertain exactly what the sudden silence might mean, fear and hope mixing uncomfortably within her anxious heart. Eventually, she heard familiar footsteps approaching the safe room, followed by Damien's voice, tense yet clearly relieved. Sophia, it's safe now. You can come out. Relief flooded through Sophia instantly as she emerged cautiously from the hidden room, finding Damien visibly exhausted but uninjured, his expression immediately softening with genuine relief upon seeing her safe as well. Are you hurt? Damien asked urgently, quickly checking her carefully for any injury. I'm fine, Sophia reassured him, though her voice trembled slightly from the residual fear of the terrifying ordeal. What happened? Is everyone safe? The attack has been repelled, Damien confirmed, relief evident clearly in his exhausted expression. But this confirms clearly that Valente intends to continue targeting you directly, believing incorrectly that you hold valuable information against me. Sophia felt a fresh wave of anxious uncertainty settle within her chest. What happens now, Damien? Damien's expression hardened with renewed, protective determination, genuine affection evident clearly beneath his controlled resolve. Now, Sophia, I intend to end this threat completely, permanently, ensuring your safety and our future together remain fully secure, regardless of what it takes. The morning after the attack, Damien gathered his most trusted men for an urgent strategy session. The Valente family's brazen assault on his mansion had crossed a line that demanded a swift, decisive response. We've identified Valente's main compound, Marco reported, spreading a detailed map across Damien's desk. If we move quickly, we can end this before they attempt another attack. Do it, Damien ordered firmly. I want this threat eliminated completely today. Before departing, Damien found Sophia in the guest room, still visibly shaken from the previous night's terrifying assault. He knelt beside her chair, taking her hands gently in his own. I have to go handle this directly, he said softly. But I promise you, Sophia, this ends today. You'll finally be safe, permanently. Sophia studied him carefully, fear and genuine concern evident in her tired eyes. Please, come back to me safely, Damien. Damien's expression softened completely, genuine warmth replacing his usual controlled composure. I intend to. There's far too much waiting for me here now with you. He leaned forward, pressing a gentle, reassuring kiss to her forehead before standing and departing with Marco and his men, moving decisively toward Valente's compound to end the dangerous conflict permanently. The confrontation that followed was swift and precise. Damien's men, driven by fierce loyalty and genuine anger over the attack on innocent Sophia, moved with calculated determination against Valente's forces. Damien himself confronted Valente directly, his cold, controlled fury evident clearly as he addressed the rival leader. You attacked my home, endangered someone innocent, based on false assumptions about information she doesn't even possess, Damien said coldly. That was your final mistake, Valente. Valente, quickly realizing his forces were outmatched and his position compromised, attempted to negotiate, but Damien's resolve remained unwavering. Within hours, Valente's organization was thoroughly dismantled, the immediate threat neutralized completely, ensuring Sophia's safety permanently secured. That evening, exhausted but victorious, Damien returned to the mansion, immediately finding Sophia anxiously waiting in the hallway near his study. The moment she saw him arrive safely, relief flooded through her entirely. It's over, Damien said simply, walking toward her. Valente's threat has been completely eliminated. You're finally safe, Sophia. Permanently. Sophia's eyes filled with tears of genuine relief, rushing forward into his arms, without hesitation. Thank you, Damien, for protecting me, for ending this danger. Damien held her closely, his usual guarded composure completely dissolved, replaced entirely by genuine warmth and affection. Sophia, these past weeks, this unusual, accidental living arrangement, they've shown me exactly what genuine connection and happiness truly feel like. I don't want to hide from that any longer. Sophia pulled back slightly, looking directly into his sincere, vulnerable eyes. Neither do I, Damien. Despite everything, the danger, the uncertainty, I've grown to love you deeply. Damien's expression filled with genuine, overwhelming warmth at her heartfelt admission. I love you too, Sophia. What started as an embarrassing mix-up has become the most meaningful connection I've experienced in years. Gently, he cupped her face, sealing his heartfelt declaration with a warm, tender kiss, both of them finally allowing themselves to embrace the genuine happiness they had unexpectedly discovered through their unusual, accidental circumstances. In the weeks that followed, life at the Cross Mansion gradually settled into peaceful stability. With the Valente threat completely eliminated, Damien's organization returned to its usual careful operations, no longer overshadowed by the danger that had briefly threatened everything he cared about. Sophia, rather than returning to her previous cleaning assignments elsewhere, chose to remain at the mansion, her relationship with Damien deepening steadily into genuine, meaningful partnership built on honesty, mutual respect, and unwavering love. The renovations to the East Wing finally completed, yet Sophia found herself no longer needing separate guest quarters at all. One quiet evening, sitting together comfortably in Damien's private study, now genuinely shared between them, Sophia glanced around thoughtfully at the space that had once felt so intimidating and unfamiliar. Do you ever think about how strange this all began? She asked softly, smiling gently up at Damien. A simple scheduling mix-up, and somehow it led us here. Damien chuckled warmly, pulling her closer against his side. Every day, that unexpected mix-up, as awkward and unusual as it was, brought you directly into my life, Sophia. I'll always be grateful for it, regardless of how unconventional the circumstances were. Sophia smiled contentedly, genuine happiness and security settling comfortably around her heart. I'm grateful too, Damien. Despite the danger, despite the uncertainty, I wouldn't trade this journey for anything. Damien gently kissed the top of her head, holding her closely as peaceful contentment settled around them both. And now, Sophia, we no longer need any accidental mix-ups or awkward arrangements. We can simply choose, deliberately and genuinely, to share our lives together, exactly as we wish. Sophia looked up at him, love and happiness evident clearly in her warm, contented gaze. I'd like that very much, Damien. Sharing everything with you, deliberately, honestly, and completely. From that day forward, Damien Cross was no longer known simply as a powerful, feared Mafia boss guarding his private world carefully from outside connection, but privately, quietly, as a man who had finally found genuine happiness, security, and love, all because an accidental room mix-up had brought a kind, genuine, plus-size maid directly into his carefully guarded life, transforming an embarrassing mistake into the most meaningful relationship he had ever known.